Alrighty, well it is 3:01 on the dot today, and today is July, what's today? It's Wednesday. We're so happy to have you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. We are going to talk about predictive targeting, and this might be a topic that, is pretty new to the real estate and multifamily space, but it shouldn't go unignored. It's something that's going to be taking place definitely in 2015. It's happening right now for a lot of other verticals. They're utilizing predictive targeting to help them with ads and making sure that their ads are targeting the correct audience. So we're going to talk about how it's being used on major social networks and how different brands are really kind of customizing the search experience for their audience. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Ansley Sutter, Social Media Training and Communications Coordinator. That's a mouthful for Homes.com and for Rent Media Solutions, better known as ForRent.com. And I'm essentially your go-to girl as it pertains to anything touching social media. So, if you're a Homes client, maybe you're utilizing Homes.com social, you have a great support team on that end. Same goes with if you are a ForRent Media Solutions customer and you're utilizing FR Social, you have a great FR Social team on that end as well. So we want to make sure that our clients are taken care of. We want to offer assets like these free webinars to you, so that way you completely understand social media and everything that kind of goes under that umbrella, not specifically our products. We love that you use our products, but we want you to understand social media as a whole, so that way when you do utilize our products, you can use them to their best capability. So we are currently awaiting your tweets. We just left a Twitter chat, and some of you may just kind of be coming over from the Appfolio chat that was happening with Erica Campbell Byram. She talked about reputation management, and she may just be wrapping up right around now. So we're waiting for a couple people to kind of come from that session to this session, and we're going from one Twitter chat essentially to another. So if you were on hashtag #AppfolioChat, today's your day to be on Twitter, and you are on RE Social Chat. So we are, engaging with you on the Twitter handle at Homes Pro on Twitter, as well as APTS for Rent. We're utilizing both of those Twitter handles, and we're using RE Social Chat to kind of keep the conversation all in one stream here. So if you have any feedback, any questions, maybe you have some insight, this is your forum to really express all of those thoughts and everything that you may have during today's chat. So we welcome those. And these don't go unrecognized. The person who engages with us, one person will be randomly selected to receive a $20 gift card. How cool is that? That's a great hump day to me. If you get $20 on the hardest day of the week, or you're just halfway through the week. So we will announce the winner toward the end of our session. So we will be looking out on Twitter to make sure you are utilizing hashtag RE Social Chat, and we really want to engage with you there, so we'll be on the lookout. So we're going to cover a few things today. We're going to chat a little about this whole predictive targeting. It's also known as, the formal term is predictive behavioral targeting. And we're going to find out the why behind why people, or reasons people are searching online. Why are they doing that? Why aren't they using another mode of medium as opposed to going to Google and conducting a search there? We'll also talk about online behaviors that drive search and how you can meet your target audience at ZMOT. And Erica actually ironically just spoke about ZMOT during her session if you were on the hashtag @FolioChat. But it is essentially the zero moment of truth. And if you've never heard of it, it's going to really kind of just give you an aha moment and help you understand the mental marketing kind of aspect to how people are searching online. And I also want to share how brands are converging with social to leave an impact on consumers with some real world examples. Nothing kind of really hits home and allows you to see how applicable what we talk about is as opposed to seeing some real world examples. So as always, I'm going to share some articles to get you on the right track, and I'm eagerly awaiting your questions and can see them come in real time. So do not hesitate to ask any questions that you may have. Just a couple housekeeping tips before we get started. If you're not familiar with GoToMeeting, that's what we're utilizing today to conduct today's RE social chat. And you have a questions box available to you if you need to ask any questions. You are able to engage. I can see your questions coming in real time. And then with this Twitter aspect, we're really kind of creating a level of interaction and engagement. So if you have a question, feel free to really utilize the hashtag if you're on Twitter right now, or go ahead and ask me a question during today's session, and I'm happy to answer it there. So let's go ahead and just dive in first into what predictive targeting really is. So by definition, predictive behavioral targeting, or PBT, is a technology that kind of tries to segment and target online ads not only based on a consumer's click behavior, and that's a huge part of it, but also based on predictions about their interest in their future behavior. So you're taking into consideration maybe when you're paying for Google AdWords, or you're paying for ads in the social space, you're doing several things. You're paying for space so that you're taking into account your audience and what they have done. So that's where the behavior part comes into play. Past what they have done in the social space, the way that they're searching, and you're taking that into account. And then you're, based off of those behaviors, predicting what their future interests or future behavior will be. And usually if you're on the mark, you're going to have people click your ad. Now, I'm not specifically going to talk about advertising, online advertising today. So I'm going to kind of take this term, whole predictive targeting term, slightly out of context, and that will help me relate to today's audience, which are mostly real estate and multifamily professionals. So any techies or developers out there, if you're listening in, please don't get your pixels in a bunch. I am really trying to kind of reel this in to not deliver I guess not high level, but really kind of Silicon Valley. I'm going to water it down a little bit for today's audience so that we can really directly apply it to real estate and multifamily. So from a broad view, predictive targeting is really taking in information based off of our online searches. That's really what it is if you're going to look at it from a broad stroke or a bird's eye view. Almost like a big brother of the internet in a sense. Remember we talked about big data? Behavioral targeting or predictive targeting is really looking at all of the online users and really serving up content and ads that are going to speak to that search behavior. So for example, my best friend is getting married in a couple months, and I'm her matron of honor. So you can imagine, I've been doing a lot of wedding-related searching, even probably more so than I did for my own wedding. And as a result, most of the online ads and sponsored posts and Facebook messages, or not messages, but ads, or even Pinterest content is all wedding related because of my search behavior. And this is going to help brands get a really data-rich breakdown of their audience so that they can serve up products and services that directly speak to that search. So this is really where I'm talking about how social networks are converging with our search behaviors and meeting us directly on those channels to really meet us and give us an experience that speaks directly to what we're doing. So last month I shared a quote that speaks to how company leaders have realized that getting closer to the customer is crucial to growth, and brand influencers are coming to find that the best place to start is at why. So think about that for a second. Getting closer to the customer. Well, one of the best ways to get closer to the customer is to understand how they're searching and what they want and what they need so that you can better craft your product to deliver just that. So customers and consumers are using search to conduct research, to gather information before making a major purchase decision, to reconnect with old acquaintances. We're seeing that with Facebook, where it has definitely shifted from being an exclusive network to college students, and now it's opened up the gates to not only allow brands in, but it's allowing every single demographic, and it's being crafted to really cater to every single demographic. And what we're seeing, the majority of Facebook users right now are baby boomers, right? So they're connecting with old acquaintances, and also people are using search to reconnect with new and current acquaintances. So it's really a mixture of everything. We talked about how people are information gathering before they make a purchase decision. They're also using search to finalize and solidify that purchase decision. And then last but not least, they're gaining knowledge, and they're also just online for entertainment. So we're seeing a lot of channels like YouTube, where someone goes to YouTube to specifically search for one thing, and guess what? 5 hours later, they have watched hours upon hours of YouTube content. They've gained information as well as they've been entertained. They've also, YouTube places ads on highly visible and highly clicked through videos, which is super smart because they're part of Google now. Brands are being able to reach out and connect with who could be a new audience member just by some random YouTube video. So it's really all interconnected, and search is really being customized these days. So if you take a look at these stats, you're going to find that the top two ways consumers are conducting searches online is by researching first, and then they're either making the purchase online or in store. And regardless, the purchase decision is being made online, and that's the point I'm trying to drive, which is really impactful to our industry. One thing about the social space for real estate and multifamily is it's incredibly visually based, right? All of our inventory and our listings, you have to see them. You have to do these virtual tours. You have to watch FR video to kind of get a gist of this apartment community, or you have to watch a virtual tour for a home that a real estate agent is listing. Things like this are going to be so dependent on the purchase decision or the decision being made online, because that's where the majority of content that we serve up to our clients is going to be consumed. I want to kind of shift gears and introduce ZMOT to you. Like I said, if any of you were on the AppFolio chat earlier, Erica talked about this. So how many of you, I want to know, shoot me a question through the GoTo, or I'm going to pull up the RE social chat right now on my smartphone so I can see what everyone's talking about. How many of you are utilizing, or how many of you know what ZMOT is? It's a really neat idea or kind of concept that Google has introduced, which really has shifted the form of the initial idea of how a consumer is led to their purchase decision. So according to Google, ZMOT occurs after the consumer sees an ad for a product, but before a purchase is made, maybe online or in a store. So kind of more directly, it's the moment when a shopper goes online to research a product and decides whether to make that purchase. So we're shifting gears from the stimulus where they realize they need to do something. And it can be motivated by, maybe you just got married and you bought a home. That was my situation. We just closed on our house a couple months ago. Maybe you're pregnant and you need to buy a home. Maybe you've just graduated college and you need to rent your first apartment. That's what the stimulus is. Those are the stimuli that are going to motivate you to what will now be ZMOT, zero moment of truth. This is where you're conducting research. This is where you're asking your peer group, friends and family. This is where you're going to blog bloggers and blogs to read articles on tips for first-time home buying or questions every renter should ask before signing a lease. This is the zero moment of truth. This, more than anything, they are completely geeked up off of this whole stimulus. They need to move in a direction. They don't have a choice but to go forward. When you graduate college and your parents are telling you to get out of the house, you have to go this way. You cannot go backwards. Same thing if you're expecting and you need to kind of upgrade or enlarge your living space. This is where ZMOT is going to be so important for marketers like you and myself to really understand, because if you can deliver that quality zero moment of truth for the prospect, it's going to directly lead them to the first moment of truth, which is making that purchase. And what Erica talked about in her webinar was she talked about how our zero moment of truths actually create a virality effect and create ZMOTs, if you will, for other folks. So what that means is if I'm going and so say that 2 years ago, or say that 30 minutes ago or 3 months ago, I went to Amazon.com and read a review about a hairdryer, right? That person 3 months ago who left that review, they created a zero moment of truth for me, because had that review not been there, had that credibility and that credible source not been there, I wouldn't have been able to really gather the information that I needed to gather in order to move forward to that purchase decision. So we've talked about reputation management before. We've talked about garnering ratings and reviews and highlighting the positive reviews. When you're doing that, make sure that you are getting quality reviews and everything from people's reviews, because that's going to help create a quality zero moment of truth for potentially a prospect who could potentially become a customer of yours if the process is done correctly. So that's what ZMOT is. And we have a quote I just wanted to share with you from the VP at Google. He says, "Marketers who believe in the zero moment of truth, who optimize and build their marketing programs around the zero moment of truth, stand to have a competitive advantage in the marketplace." So very true, because ZMOT is different for everyone. The stimulus is going to be different from everyone. You could be prompted to move out of your apartment and buy a home, so maybe you're leaving your apartment space and you used ForRent.com to find your apartment home, but maybe you're getting married, or maybe you're relocating for your job, so you're jumping from ForRent.com to Homes.com to find a new place to live, whether you're renting or buying. Make sure that when people are transitioning from the stimulus to ZMOT, that you are right there to serve up those quality results so that they can make that purchase decision with you. Michelle said that she just learned about ZMOT on another webinar she just finished watching. I'm assuming it may have been the Appfolio webinar with Erica Campbell-Byram. But thank you for sharing that, Michelle. I appreciate that. So as it relates to real estate, we're seeing how search engines are playing a pretty critical role in the zero moment of truth. And one stat that really stands out to me out of all of these is that almost 70% of homeowners and home shoppers who take action on a real estate brand website begin their search with a local term like Atlanta homes for sale. And from there, they're able to specify their results. But again, ZMOT plays, and search engines play a critical role that really makes a direct correlation and impact when it comes to someone's zero moment of truth when they're searching for their home, whether they're renting or buying. So really kind of take that into consideration the next time you are either advertising or doing anything else in the social space. I'm going to read the green circle. We had a couple people ask what that means. Home shoppers using search engines are 9% more likely to take an action on a real estate brand website than those who do not search. So I hope you can read that, Rachel. Thank you for asking. I'll read it again. Home shoppers using search engines are 9% more likely to take an action on a real estate site like homes.com than those who do not search. So 9%, that's better than zero, right? I mean, that's a huge percentage when you consider how many people are in the real estate market and in the market for buying and selling right now, even renting. This chart just kind of goes to show that most home shoppers take anywhere between 60 to 120 days to take action, and the majority of these shoppers are visiting maybe 3 or more sites before taking that action. So I want you to think about that for a second, because knowing that home shoppers are not just visiting only your site, don't be naive, people. People have no loyalty when it comes to the social space, so you have to make sure that your website is on point when you want that shopper to take action with you, because guess what? They are going to jump from one website to another. It's almost like bar hopping online, right? You just go from one to the other. So make sure that your website is good to go. You have responsive design. It's on point, because they're kind of going to toss the dice and really kind of play it by who's serving up the most quality content when it comes to websites. Because when you look at I need a place to live, you can't play around with that. And I know for you homes clients, there are some pretty stellar options for you as it pertains to creating a fantastic website. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. Same goes for rent clients. If you're utilizing FR Social, we have a really good option that allows you to create a welcome page on your Facebook page from a template. So you can really serve up some high-res photos. You can embed a YouTube video in there. This is really going to make that zero moment of truth, allow them to transfer from the stimulus to ZMOT to the purchase decision. And these are some graphs kind of taken from Google Trends, which is a really neat program that Google's running. And this was from 2011, but this tool shows that when the rate of foreclosures rose, so this is probably during the time from 2011, okay, so everything crashed during that time. Property value, I mean, people were upside down in their mortgages. It just was not a great time for sellers. It was a great time for buyers. So this is when the rate of foreclosures rose, and the median home price dropped, obviously. So more people began to search for homes online during that time because they got more bang for their buck, and the number of homes sold directly correlated to those searches. So let me say that again. When the rate of foreclosures rose, the median home price dropped. And then more people, because the prices were dropping like crazy, it was a buyer's market, more people began to search for homes online, and the number of homes sold directly correlated to those searches. You can probably imagine how frequently listings and people were really advertising pretty heavily during this period, and this study was based strictly off of online searches, which is really neat. So with the onslaught of marketing and promotional messaging out there, consumers face online brands. We've found ways to cut through the clutter by converging and almost interrupting the search and an online experience in order to make an impact and make an impression. So let's kind of share how different social networks are really interrupting the social space in the way that we search, shaking up search on Facebook. So these are some screenshots of various Facebook promoted ads I've come across in the last 24 hours. So this was just yesterday. The 4 ads on the left that you see here, these are a combination of promoted and suggested pages. So this is a sponsored post, which is essentially Chick-fil-A bought space on Facebook to advertise what looks like an amazing grilled salad. But what it looks like to the end user is just like another story from a page that my sister liked. And the cool thing with Facebook promoted posts now is that they're going to really subtly inject these brands into your newsfeed, into your home stream. So it's not really screaming, buy me, it's just kind of injecting these really high-res images into your newsfeed and making it a little bit more authentic and credible. This is a suggested post, and this is really where they're promoting a page that I have not liked yet, but they're taking into account other pages that I've liked. So I've liked other brands like Kate Spade, Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, things like that. And so they're understanding based off of my likes on Facebook, pages I've liked, that's voluntary information. Brands are taking advantage of that, and Facebook is allowing brands to essentially gain new followers based off of other pages that they like. And this is what Tom Ford has done. Neiman Marcus recommends I like this new fragrance that's being sold at their store, and it allows me to like this page. So that's just another way that Facebook is really taking my search behavior and pages that I have liked and content that I've liked, and really serving up new content that I can like as well. If you look here on the right hand side, this is what I just told you. I was online the other day searching for wedding shoes for my best friend, and guess what I see on my Facebook page? Badgley Mischka shoes. Another thing is, if you're a Nordy follower, Nordstrom's anniversary sale is going on right now. So guess what's the first thing I see on my Facebook page? A direct link to the opportunity to purchase goods on Nordstrom.com. So this is really where Facebook is injecting these ads directly into the newsfeed to make them flow subtly with stories and posts that are already from my friends and family. So this might be something you want to think about. If you have the advertising dollars and the marketing dollars in your budget, you might want to try out Facebook ads and see how that works for you. I've seen some people in the real estate space utilize promoted ads or sponsored posts, and they've done really well with them, and they've gotten a lot of business. And one thing I do want to show you that all of these have in common are these gorgeous high-res photos. So remember a few months ago, probably in 2013, I feel like we talked about visual social media. We talked about letting the visual do the speaking. You don't see a lot of content here. You literally see 3 words and a couple hashtags and a link probably to Chick-fil-A's website. Again, these are all letting the visual do the talking. And when you do more visually based advertising and social sharing, you're going to see that you're going to garner more engagement. You garner 53% more engagement than you do with any other type of media. Of course, I would suggest pairing up that image with a couple words to help describe or even more so offer a call to action. So this is even a call to action, brighten the day. It's giving you a job to do. Here's one that for the Land of Nod, which is a children's store, which I think is essentially they're in the same parent company as West Elm, but it's geared toward children. They're promoting, free delivery on returns, free delivery and returns on furniture orders over $1,000. Call to action right there. Refresh your home with beautiful wreaths. Call to action. These are going to really incentivize your audience, renters, buyers, and sellers, to act on these visually engaging posts based off of things that they've already liked, shared, and commented on. One neat thing is that Facebook is constantly wanting to give users the best custom experience, and in order to do that, users have the option to give their feedback in the form of surveys and sharing likes and their dislikes in these surveys. So what I did here was I actually took a screenshot. I kind of started a survey. I didn't finish it, but I took a screenshot to let you know that it's just a 10-step process most of the time. And here's a question. How much do you agree with this statement? I want to see more posts like this on Facebook. And this is from a page that I'm following, Design Sponge, which is essentially like giving you DIY tidbits on for interior design and things like that. And it's going to give you a scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And when you take these surveys with Facebook, you are voluntarily telling them how to craft the user experience for you, which I think is really neat. Another thing that I did is I actually, I'm going to go back here and show you where these little carrots are if you can see them. Do you see this little carrot right here next to like page, or this little carrot right here? There are little drop-down carrots next to every single one of these posts. There aren't those on the bar on the right-hand side, but I believe you can kind of change around what ads you want to see on that side. But as it pertains to all of these, quote, brand stories that are being injected in our newsfeed, you will see a little drop-down carrot. If you were to click that carrot, you would be able to see these. This came from that Land of Nod post. It said, I can select I don't want to see this, or I can select hide all ads from Land of Nod. So this is why I'm telling you that it's so important to make your content visually engaging, because guess what? People can hide you if they want. You don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure that people are going here. I want to get notifications from this brand every time they post or every time they do something on Facebook. That's the place you want your residents, prospects, buyers and sellers, anyone in your audience. You want them to click that carrot and then say, I want to get notifications, because you want them to be so engaged with your content that they don't want to miss anything. Let's talk about how Pinterest is shaking up search as it pertains to any content that comes through on Pinterest. And they're doing this with kind of 3 different ways, which is going to be guided search, related pins, and promoted pins. I'm going to go to the hashtag really quickly, see what we've got going here. So hold tight. I want to see who's engaging with us. All right, cool. I see a couple people. We have Megan, we have Mark. Thanks so much for joining, guys. RJ. Yeah, we have some great folks. Jessica, hello. Thank you guys for engaging with us on today's Twitter chat. We really appreciate it. All right, moving right along. Guided search is all about creating an organic user-generated search experience, and it's going to also offer a light dose of help from Pinterest. So if you're not quite sure what it is you're looking for, but you are wanting to, be on Pinterest and search for, kind of where you want to go, but you're not quite sure how to get there, guided search is really the feature that you want to utilize with Pinterest. And Pinterest is going to if you just start typing the closest or kind of the first thing that comes to your mind, Pinterest will, from there, they're going to start pulling categories and keywords that maybe not only start with the same letters, but also that are related to these possible keywords. And CEO Ben Silbermann of Pinterest said that guided search will help you discover when you didn't know how to ask for things to begin with. So how cool is that? They're almost not necessarily doing the thinking for us, but they are really helping us kind of pull those ideas out of our brain or kind of out of our fingertips that we really don't know how to reach. And I think that's so cool, because it's so neat to see how social media and search in general, if you used to think about search was so cookie cutter back in the day, right? It was all about, if you typed in one word, you and the next person and the next person and the next person would get the same results. But now with all these social networks, if you type in a certain word in Pinterest, your results are going to be completely different than someone else's results based off of the behaviors, your search, and what you're doing in the future. So your future behaviors, these social networks are taking all of that into consideration and really serving up a custom experience for you, which I think is so neat. I want to take you quickly through how you can utilize guided search. So right now, if you have the app on your smartphone, either it's updated or it's not. So you're going to have to either download the app if you don't have it at all, or update the mobile app if you haven't done so already. Now it is available as is on your desktop version. So just a couple, I believe it was just a couple weeks ago that actually guided search was available for desktop, which is really cool. So go ahead and either download the app or update your app or just utilize the desktop version. And then you're going to want to tap the magnifying glass search icon. And I believe, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's either in the upper left-hand corner or the upper right-hand corner. And then once you click that search icon, this is where you're going to be starting to type in something you're looking for in the search field at the top of the screen. And then from there, you can choose pins or just my pins. So it's either going to serve up new content that you might want to scroll through, or it even might serve up content related to your search that is content that you have strictly pinned yourself. The next thing you're going to do is suggestions. Look at the suggestions to help refine your search. So this is what this is. These are different suggestions that help just kind of refine your search and almost put it in a silo. So if you think about, you want to bake a cake, but golly, there are so many different ways. There's a gluten-free option. There's a sugar-free option. There's a dairy-free option, right? So this is really kind of how Pinterest is customizing your search experience. And then last but not least, with the first kind of steps of how you can utilize guided search, you're going to want to tap any of the guides like these here to narrow your search to really, again, silo it into content that you're actually wanting to engage in. Also, Pinterest allows you to select up to 3 guides. So when you have those guides, you can select up to 3 of those, which is really neat. So you can, these are, if you want to do plants or indoor plants, you can do potted or, ideas, things like that. Or these are going to help you really, again, segment kind of where you're wanting to go with this search. And after that, the guides will disappear. So the guides will reappear if you deselect any of the terms in the search field, but if not, they're going to disappear. And then last but not least, you can also type in additional search terms into the field and add your own guide. So if you want to do almost like a DIY guide, they're going to allow you to do that. If you hit this plus sign, they're going to say have something else in mind and type your own search terms. And again, they're loosely guiding you to what you want to see. They're not putting you in this kind of like maze where you can only go one direction with Pinterest content. It's really serving up a custom experience where you can go from one direction to another. So another thing that you can do is this is going to be related pins. And related pins is if you are on your, essentially what your home page is for Pinterest. And what that means is it's going to be a combination of all of the pins people you follow have pinned. That's where the related pins are going to show. Also, if you just do a random search outside of content that you're following, people that you're following, you're going to see related pins there as well. But the cool thing is that you're going to see, like, it's not going to be necessarily someone that you follow, but it's going to be a related pin based on the content that you have pinned and repinned within Pinterest. And this is where that whole predictive kind of targeting, behavioral targeting is taking place again. Any developers out there, don't shoot me, just letting you know that I'm really kind of trying to shift this whole idea for today's audience. But again, it's all based off of behaviors, past behaviors, so it's taking Pinterest insights into consideration and serving up content that, based off of the content you've already pinned, you would probably want to repin yourself. One thing that I wanted to share with you are these screenshots that I took. So this was a pin inside of Pinterest, and if you click this little information icon or radio button here, it's going to tell you that this pin came from a board that has some of the same pins that are in another one of your boards. So again, it's kind of that whole convergence of content. It's probably serving up content that you have pinned that's very similar. And then you can do one of two things. You can either rate this post or X out, which is, I think, really cool. So you can actually thumbs up or thumbs down it. And what that's going to do is say, if you thumbs up, say, great, we'll keep showing you stuff like this, which I think is really neat. I think it's very considerate of social networks these days, like Facebook, to take surveys or to give you the option to say, I want to see this versus I don't want to see this. Same thing with Pinterest. Again, like I said with Facebook, make sure your content within Pinterest is visually engaging so that they give you that thumbs up if they decide to rate your pin if it shows up as a related pin. If the alternate is you know, clicking that thumbs down button and Pinterest will say, we'll try not to show you stuff like this. So it's going to go one of two ways. So make sure that you're sharing great content so that if someone does rate your content, you're getting a thumbs up. So promoted pins was the third feature I wanted to talk about. It's not quite available yet. It's only available to I think like maybe 10 brands right now. So it's still in kind of like a beta test mode. But promoted pins is a really neat kind of idea where this feature, again, like I said, it's not quite out yet. But these are subtle ways that brands are injecting their products and their services into Pinterest content while you're scrolling through. So this is just a screenshot of someone's iPhone, so they're utilizing Pinterest on their smart device. So if they were to type in the search bar women's fashion, they would look at all these different pins that came through. Then they would look at a pin that randomly came through from Old Navy that is still directly related to women's fashion, but it might lead directly to Old Navy's website, and that's what a promoted pin is. So this is kind of how Pinterest is monetizing their network and really allowing brands into this space, but for a price. And the trade-off is that you're coming into this space very organically, very authentically. You're not kind of shoving your way in or nudging your way in, but you're kind of literally floating right in with the other content that specifically speaks to that person's search, which I think is really neat. All right, so question for you. Have you noticed that when you follow someone or you follow a brand on Twitter, you're prompted with 3 other suggestions based off, off of the Twitter handle you just followed? If any of you are in that same boat, if any of you are on the RE social chat right now, you have probably experienced that where you're followed someone, and then what happened was, you were prompted to like 3 other accounts that are loosely relative to who you just followed. This is called suggestions for you. This is a feature within Instagram. Golly, not Instagram, Twitter. So sorry. This is a feature within Twitter that really takes into account who you followed. So again, past behavior dictates future behavior. This is where there are going to be algorithms in this feature built by Twitter developers, which are going to suggest people you don't currently follow that you might find interesting. The suggestions are based on several factors, including people you follow and the people that they follow. So this is really neat. Again, it's really serving up a way for, maybe if I followed a brand like HGTV, guess what? This is another place for a brand like you to come into and interact with a potential audience member. DIY, HGTV design happens, Elle Decor. So think about, if you're in the real estate space and you're pretty prominent on Twitter, you could come up potentially in one of these spaces. Same thing goes for you guys in multifamily. I know that Bozzuto has a huge following on Twitter for all of their apartment communities. And once you follow one of their apartment communities, Twitter always is going to serve up another one of their apartment communities that has a strong following on Twitter. So again, I'm not trying to tell you that it's essential that you be on all of these social networks, but I do want to share with you rather, how brands are really taking into account this trend of behavioral targeting and getting more exposure from that. We had a question come in from Megan that she asked, how should I apply guided search for leading my prospects and residents to relevant content pertaining to my community? Okay, Megan, what I want to share with you, great question, is this is how it's going to work. And we're talking about, if you've been on any of our other webinars, we've talked about utility and adding value. This is a great example of utility with guided search. Ask your prospect or your resident to conduct a search on Pinterest. Let them know about things like guided search if they're really just kind of in a pickle. Maybe they've just signed a lease and want to know how to make their new apartment space their own. Send them to Pinterest and share your Pinterest account with them if you have one, and ask them to start a search. That's utility. That's not necessarily saying, hey, come to my website, but it's going to share with them that you are more concerned with things that don't directly address the bottom line directly. But guess what? That resident is going to be so appreciative that you are taking the time to educate them on things that could really help them make their apartment home that they're going to renew that lease next year. So I hope that helps. These are trends that in the long term, we talked about on Erica's webinar a couple last hour, how reputation management and online social presence is a marathon, not a sprint. So I want you guys to start thinking about long term. Think about how you can pass this kind of information on to your residents, prospects, buyers, sellers, renters, and that be a value add to your brand for you, and how that's going to directly affect the bottom line in the long term. I hope that answered your question for you. I love these questions that are coming in. One thing I wanted to share with you before we wrapped up, and this is a rather short webinar, but I wanted to keep it short and sweet for you. Get to know your audience online, whether those be renters, buyers, sellers. And one thing you can do is Google has so much information just for businesses to help you learn about how you can attract and reach out to current and future audience members. And Google report searches showed that the term staycation, which I will tell you a couple years ago was not even a real term. It's not in Webster's dictionary, but it's still a term that we utilize in the social space. So they reported that the search term staycation peaks every single year in July. Every single year. And searches for staycations are up 10% year over year. And guess why? Economy is still not that great. People are trying to shave dollars where they can. People are trying to really find budget-friendly ways to enjoy summer. And they're using that information as a value add. And this is how you can use that information to add value to your brand, by suggesting ways that your residents or your clients can make the most out of this summer and save money. And this is information you wouldn't have known before. This is actually an infographic from Google that kind of broke down how people are utilizing this search term staycation and really finding some great alternatives to booking a cruise or flying off somewhere, and finding ways that they can stay in their general area and have just as much fun. Maybe you don't know where to start. Well, you know what? Once again, Homes.com and ForRent.com has your back. And we've created an easy-to-share e-guide that will serve up a variety of suggestions for your client base so that they can enjoy the rest of this summer with friends and family. We're through, we're almost finished with July. People have only a couple weeks left before school starts in session again, before they go back to college, before the work season gets really busy again. For us in the real estate space, it's hot, 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 right? People are searching for places to live before the kids go back to school. People are kind of coming at the end of their lease and they're looking for places to live. So right now, this is busy season for us in the real estate and multifamily space. But for other people and other verticals, this is their time where they can actually plug in to their family and disconnect from their work life for a little bit. So I'm actually going to share this staycation guide with you toward the end of the session today. So be on the lookout for that. But this is just another way you can take advantage of the content that we as a brand create, that's crafted, specifically crafted to pass down to you so that you can repurpose it and pass it down to your residents, prospects, and renters and buyers and sellers. So I want to share some social chat valuable links with you, and I'm going to share those now through the chat. If any of you do not have access to your chat box for any reason, don't worry. I am actually going to be sending all of these links as a follow-up to today's session. I'm recording it as I speak right now, and I'm actually going to be sharing all this information in an email to you next week, and you'll have the recording and you'll have all of these links. So don't worry. I hope you're not jotting these down like crazy. So just rest assured that you'll get this information anyway, whether you're clicking on the links now or if you'll get it in the follow-up email. But this just kind of tells you a breakdown of the Zero Moment of Truth ZMOT, couple videos from YouTube that really drive it home, a guide on how to utilize Pinterest guided search, Pinterest related pins, Pinterest promoted pins, what's coming with that since it's not out yet, 5 game-changing social updates that you need to know about, and then here's the staycation guide. So I'm actually going to share all that with you next week if you haven't gotten it just right now. I had a couple questions come in, which I think I answered most of them. Let me just go through here and see if I have any more. Yep, we had feedback and questions come in. Anyone else, if you have a question, please let me know. Otherwise, how about we announce our winner, right? Today's winner is Megan Hansen. We have at MLH Hansen or ML Hansen 79. I believe that's you, Megan. You are the winner of our $20 gift card. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We really appreciate everyone on the Twitter chat. It really gets the momentum going. I mean, listen, we're on a webinar. I'm sure you've had several webinars this week and they're kind of ho-hum, right? I'm trying to make this as enjoyable as possible for you. So I really appreciate your participation with us today. Congratulations to Megan. If you could just DM us your mailing information, we will pop that $20 gift card in the mail to you. Otherwise, everyone, you're free to go, and I appreciate your time. And again, like I said, you will get this as a follow-up resource to you. So just rest assured that you'll get that back. And on behalf of ForRent.com and Homes.com, we appreciate your time, and everyone have a great day. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.